Darwinian evolution. Imagine a high-stakes game show where animals and plants are the contestants. They're all showing off their special tricks, like a giraffe with a super long neck or a cactus that can survive the desert heat. The game is called Survive and Thrive. Here's the catch. Mother Nature is the host, and she's pretty picky. The rules change based on the weather, what food's available, and who's trying to eat whom. Contestants with the best tricks for the current challenge win the prize. They get to stick around, have babies, and pass on their winning tricks to the next round of contestants. Over time, with lots of rounds, the game gets wild. New, super specialized contestants emerge, like birds that can dive deep underwater or plants that eat insects. It's all about adapting to the ever-changing game rules set by Mother Nature. And that's Darwinian evolution, a never-ending, action-packed game show where the prize is life itself and the game board is the entire planet. Mendelian genetics. Imagine Mendel as a detective in his garden, uncovering the secrets of how traits are passed down through generations with his pea plants. He notices patterns, dominant versus recessive. It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors, where dominant traits always win over recessive ones unless there's no dominant trait around. The genetic shuffle. When plants have babies, they shuffle their genetic cards and pass on just one card from each pair to their offspring. This mix and match game decides whether a plant gets tall or short, yellow or green peas. Mendel's discoveries are like finding cheat codes for understanding life's blueprint. It's all about which parents' traits get to take the spotlight in their kids. Easy peasy, genetics made breezy. Neo-Darwinism. Imagine evolution as a smartphone. Darwin's theory of natural selection is like the basic phone model. It does the job, making calls and sending texts, survival of the fittest. But then comes the modern synthesis, or Neo-Darwinism, which is like upgrading to the latest smartphone. It adds all the cool features, genetics, DNA, that Darwin didn't know about. This upgrade makes the phone not just a communication device, but a super gadget that can do almost anything. Take photos, mutations, use apps, genetic drift, and connect globally, gene flow. So the modern synthesis takes Darwin's idea and supercharges it with science's latest, turning a good theory into an awesome explanation of life's diversity. Punctuated equilibrium. Imagine evolution as a rock concert. For most of the show, the band plays steady background tunes. This is like species not changing much for ages. Suddenly, the guitarist rips into a wild solo, shaking up the whole scene with rapid, intense changes. This solo is punctuated equilibrium, a fast, furious burst of evolution, sprouting new species and traits in a geological blink. Then, as quick as it started, it's back to the chill vibes, with species evolving slowly again until the next big solo rocks the stage. Evolution, like rock, has its quiet moments and its epic jams. Neutral theory of molecular evolution. Think of your DNA as a giant text message that occasionally gets typos. The neutral theory of molecular evolution suggests most of these typos don't really change the message's meaning. They're just there. It's like autocorrect fixing words without changing your text's overall vibe. Over time, these typos pile up, making your messages or species unique, but not because they're better or worse, just because they've randomly drifted apart. So, evolution isn't always a high-stakes battle for survival. Sometimes, it's just about rolling with the random typos of life. Gene-centric view of evolution, the selfish gene. Think of evolution as a game where the real players are not animals or plants, but the genes themselves. In The Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins introduces us to a world where genes are like tiny, cunning strategists, playing the ultimate survival game across generations. Each organism is just a temporary vehicle, a pawn, designed by these genes to help them win by making more copies of themselves. Imagine genes as sneaky little characters, whispering instructions to build extravagant tails or colorful wings, not for the organism's joy, but as clever moves to ensure they get passed on to the next round of the game. It's a twist in the story of life, with genes as the unseen heroes or villains, pulling the strings in the grand evolutionary play. This view turns the spotlight from the creatures we see to the microscopic scripts that write the saga of life, making us rethink who's really running the show. Evo Devo is like the magic recipe of life. It's where biology's chefs mix up development recipes in the genetic kitchen to create the dazzling diversity of animals and plants we see. Think of it as nature's own experiment with building blocks. Tweak a block here and a fish gets a flamboyant fin. Twist another there and a bird sprouts spectacular feathers. Evo Devo uncovers how tiny genetic tweaks during development can lead to the marvelous array of forms in nature, showing us that evolution is not just survival of the fittest but also the craftiest. It's the science of life's endless creativity, played out through genes and development. Horizontal gene. Transfer. Think of horizontal gene. Transfer, HGT, as nature's way of sharing life hacks. It's like if plants and bacteria could swap survival tips not just with their kids, but with any neighbor in their ecosystem. Imagine a fish suddenly glowing in the dark because it picked up a glow-in-the-dark gene from a friendly jellyfish. No family relation needed. HGT bypasses the slow process of inheritance, allowing life forms to quickly adapt by trading genetic goodies. It's evolution's version of instant messaging, making life on Earth wildly creative and interconnected. Multi-level selection theory. Multi-level selection. Theory is like a game of evolution played on different boards simultaneously, from the tiny world of genes all the way up to whole societies. Imagine a video game where you level up not just by personal wins, but by helping your team and even the entire game environment thrive. In this evolutionary game, traits that make the group stronger, like teamwork and sharing, can be as crucial for survival as individual strength and speed. It's nature's way of saying, team players often win the evolutionary race. This theory adds a twist to the survival saga, showing that sometimes it's not just the fittest individual that survives, but the fittest group. Symbiogenesis. Imagine life on Earth as a grand party, where single-celled organisms, instead of competing, decided to team up for the ultimate collaboration. Symbiogenesis is like the origin story of an epic superhero team, where ancient bacteria joined forces, sharing their superpowers. One provided energy, another offered protection, and together, they evolved into complex cells, the building blocks of all plants and animals. It's a tale of unity, showing that in the vast saga of life, cooperation can lead to the creation of something extraordinary, far beyond what any could achieve alone. This is how some of the most crucial parts of our cells got their start, turning symbiosis into a powerful engine of evolution.